Good evening, race fans, and welcome in. It's Tuesday night here on VirtualRacing.Network, and you know what that means. It's time for the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Live tonight from the virtual circuit of the Americas just outside of Austin, Texas. And what a special place to begin our road racing for the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Tonight, it is the Sundance Pizza 100 at the Circuit of the Americas. I'm Trevor Greenfield, as always, your host here for BRB, and I will be joined in the booth tonight by none other than road racing specialist and soon-to-be NASCAR specialist as well. So he's getting up to speed there. Welcome back to the booth, Alex Axman. Alex, so great to have you back with us here, and what can we expect from the Circuit of the Americas? You've done some racing here.
I have. I normally race in the GT3 category on iRacing, and Circuit of the Americas is definitely a track that we have seen a time or two. It's definitely a technical track. It's not the easiest in the world. Thankfully, the Circuit of the Americas here is going to be a little bit nicer on these cars. Of course, the NASCAR cars, they're known for going left. This time around, they're going to, making left turns. This time around, they're going to be going left and right. And it's going to definitely put the drivers on their toes. These cars are kind of the prima donna of the iRacing NASCAR cars, and they like to get squirrely, they like to get loose, and they're definitely going to do it today. Well, looks like our weather is going to play into that for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I love all road racing. I love racing in general, but it's fun when you come to a track like this and there's a lack of downforce in these cars compared to some of the real road racing cars that are out there, like you've been in, like the GT3 cars and the GTP cars. These cars, not much downforce to speak of, and very easy to lose control, perhaps spin out. So we might be seeing some of that out there tonight. It's great to have a nice contingent of drivers show up. We've got what looks like to be about 17, 18 cars going to be taking to qualifying and the grid here tonight. And so you can see that they're in the background out there on the track. Let's go ahead and jump down trackside. We'll get to qualifying here and see where some of these drivers can put themselves in on your screen. You got Carl Pooler from Limitless eSports. Great to have everybody joining us over in our YouTube chat. Make sure to let us know that you're there, who you're rooting on. I know we've got some of the Carl Pooler fan club is always great to see them joining us. We've got Gavin Rogers, who has a couple of fans out there. Of course, Stormin' Ronnie Norman, who's now on your screen. He's got a nice little contingent of fans. So let us know where you're watching from, who you're rooting on. I'll try to give you a shout out on the air. Alex, if you're qualifying out here one of these prima donna cars, it's not all about managing the tires or anything like that over the long run. It's really just about getting the tires up to temp and getting in one solid lap as we jump on board with Ronnie Norman.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I've always done is come out and get a good, nice feel. Temperature is going to come into play a lot, especially for these cars with a lack of downforce. So they're going to want the tires to stick. Normally I'd come out, do one soft pass, get a good comfortable feel, and then just absolutely hammer down the next lap the best I could. I mean, these drivers are going to be using every gear, every inch of the track they can get, and it's a technical one. Braking is not something you typically do unless you're checking up for the field, so there's going to be a lot more braking going on, and just like that, there's a car around in front of Mr. Ronnie Norman. So it's going to take a lot, but hopefully we get some good racing here. Going to have to definitely watch turn one as we get into turn one for sure, and it'll be interesting to see what times we get out of these cars as the drivers continue to turn their laps here.
Well, and you know, again, the driving difficulty is very high to keep these NASCAR Next Gen machines at the premium grip levels that you'll need to get around this track, but you also need to maximize the corners, maximize the track, just like any other road racing out there. Take a lot of curbing and certainly be thinking ahead to your next corners. As you see Ronnie Norman dealing now with a couple of the really tricky complexes here. And the driving style is quite a bit different than you would do in one of the GTPs or the GT3 cars. You and I, fortunate enough to be part of another league that we've broadcasted together here, and so you get so used to seeing how some of the other drivers out there drive through the corners, but it's all different here in the NASCAR Next Gen machines. Gavin Rogers, though, putting in the top time so far, 2:13.65 seconds, as we have just over about 3 minutes and 30 seconds left here in qualifying. Carl Pooler right now second fastest, and Brendan Maddox third fastest of the three who have put in times. There comes Ronnie Norman in with his second fastest lap so far. And one of the other great things about this track is it is so long. This is not just like Summit Point or one of the other really short tracks. This is a long track. And if you get it a little bit wrong the first couple of corners, yes, it can kind of mess up your lap overall, but you do have so much more to work with over the rest of the lap that you can still put in a great lap if you just finish strong. And unfortunately for Brendan Maddox, he's now running into some traffic out there, some of the drivers that are going a little bit slower on the track, and that's a factor in this open qualifying. Again, as you know, Alex, in NASCAR and oval racing, it's you typically don't do open qualifying. You do closed single car qualifying, and so some of these drivers are going to have to deal with a bit of a different scenario out there for this open qualifying session.
Yeah, normally just one car going around the track, and you let everybody kind of have their chance. It's kind of interesting that they've decided to go to an open qualifying, but that could also play in some people's favor. If you're not quite sure where your line is, you have the opportunity to kind of follow behind some other drivers if you're not quite comfortable with the track yet, and it might give you a good idea of the line to look for. So there's a good and bad to it. Obviously, you could get hung up by somebody who's not necessarily putting down the fastest time and get hung up in your qualifying, or you might find somebody who's faster and find a good line. So it might work out for some drivers.
Well, and this is somebody who has recently found some success on the oval side. This is Adam Buzzio, and of course, just as we get the camera on him, he goes and takes it around there, running the Tri-Vista car here tonight. He took victory last week for the first time this season and has climbed up the points a bit. Brady Motes, one of the drivers we're so used to calling his name here on VirtualRacing.Network, competing in the NORA Cup Series and the Icon Cup Series, and very skilled on these road courses. Last time we called his name here, I believe he had just gotten over a knee injury. We thought that might be a problem for him, but he somehow stumbled on to get, I believe, a podium position. So that is one of the drivers you're going to want to keep an eye on. And as you know, also, Alex, that's one of the keys here in a race like this. Some of these road course, quote-unquote, ringers coming in here, putting in some great times and maybe shaking it up a little bit, where although Brady's great on ovals as well, some of these drivers definitely have some real road course skills, and they might surprise us here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. If these guys, in turning oval is definitely a game of consistency. And then when you get into a road course, it's a game of consistency, but you're playing a little bit more with traffic. You're looking at a line and saying, how can I overtake, and where do I have the clearance? In NASCAR, you've got a little bit more opportunity to overtake. Here on Circuit of Americas, you really don't, especially if the drivers are using all of the track. The snake coming through after turn 1 and turn 2, that's going to be a tight spot to try to make a move. As we've seen a couple, just a little bit here ago, one of the qualifying cars had hit what we call, or nicknamed them turtles, the little yellow markers, and those will upset the car. I know my experience with these cars on road course. I've has never been pleasant. I've never had great success, and I'm a road course guy. So to see these guys turning out laps and doing what they're doing is impressive nonetheless.
Well, funny enough, that you might be a road course specialist. That doesn't mean you connect with every single track, just like oval racing. You got your super speedway guys, you got your short track racers. This is a track that's got a lot of tricky challenges. It is very flat. There is some elevation change as you get down towards turn 1 and that area, but this is no Laguna Seca or any track like that with extreme elevation changes, though it does make turn 1 very tricky in any sort of car. Watching Carl Pooler just finish up his qualifying effort out there. Gavin Rogers top time, Brady Motes in second, Adam Buzzio right now sitting in third, Patrick Hernandez in fourth. Pooler sitting in fifth place right now, finishing up this lap. He might have enough time to finish this lap. I don't know if he's on a hot one. I'm seeing maybe Sector 4. He had a good Sector 4 time, so this might be enough to potentially improve him. But everybody a long ways off that 2:13.65 set by Gavin Rogers. Second and change, 1.7 seconds back to Brady Motes. Just really tells you the difference in some of the drivers that know their way around these road courses very well and are not afraid to show it here tonight. Once again, great to have everybody joining us. Donna Lee, let's go number 77. Of course, that is Gavin Rogers, who is currently sitting in the pits. Great to have you, Donna, and Ashley Pooler rooting on the number 71 of Carl Pooler, who just pulls it into the pits there. So with that, we've just ended qualifying. Let's go ahead and take a look now before we get into our grid for tonight. We'll go ahead and take a look at the points as we come into tonight's race, and you'll note how close that race is at the top. Ronnie Norman still hanging on to the top spot, but only by a slim margin over Gavin Rogers. Stephen Borbell, who also coincidentally puts together this graphic for us on the screen. Thank you, Stephen. He's hanging on in third place, but quite a ways out of Gavin Rogers. Of course, everybody just kind of competing to stay in that green zone where you will get into the chase. But, still a lot of drivers that want to get in. Zach King, Eric Hawk, Matt Erickson, Jeremy Clapper Newell. You see Brady Motes. He's got a great time so far in second place. But, he's got to get some points to get into that chase group. And a lot of these drivers going to be fighting to get in. And that is what they're out there, trying to get done tonight, is get those points and get into the chase as we get closer and closer to the back half of this regular season. So let's go ahead and take a look at the starting grid for tonight. Sundance Pizza 100, of course, Sundance Pizza based out of Wickenburg, Arizona. Great pizza, so many choices to choose from. Tasty ice cream for dessert and so much in between. You got onion rings and hot dogs and awesome what else am I gonna say? They just got a full menu. Sandwiches, that's it. So anything that your family could want, it's there for you. Head on over to sundancepizza.com and you will find a great menu waiting for you. Why not pick up some of that stuff or get it delivered? That's a good idea for tonight's race. So with that, let's take a look at this starting grid, and it is going to be Gavin Rogers who takes pole position. Starting next to him will be the first car from the Full Send eSports team. That's going to be Brady Motes. Starting in third place will be Adam Buzzio, following up last week's great performance. Next to him, Patrick Hernandez. Carl Pooler on the third row, next to Ronnie Norman, who leads the points. Richard Wolfsifer and Brendan Maddox in that fourth row. Fifth row will be Matthew Corder and Zachary King. And in the sixth row, Jeremy Clapper Newell, Matthew Erickson. Then Dustin Stallings, Stephen Borbell, Jared Hughes in 15th, next to Evan Patinko. Then Christopher Campbell and Cameron Stearns in 18th. And it may be quote-unquote only 18, but really cool to see so many drivers turning out. And I understand there's a little bit of money on the table tonight to try to ensure that participation. So good luck to those drivers that are out there competing, trying to get that that little bit of money out there that is on the table for them. But you know, I think we're looking at 14 to 16 laps on the first tank of fuel, which means some of these drivers can go quite a long ways into the second stage before taking a pit stop. It'll be interesting to see what their strategy is that they work out for the race. Alex, butterflies starting to get in the stomach. Pace car leading them around here. What are you thinking as we come to the green flag?
Butt pucker turn 1. That's what I think. Every time on this track. Turn 1 is going to dictate a lot because it is a wide open turn, but there's a lot of cars coming into it, and it is going to get exciting as we come to the green flag.
Well, this is it. Buckle those belts down tight. Barney the Flag Man has the green flag in the air. Field is formed at the front. The green flag is out. We're underway here for the Sundance Pizza 100 at the Circuit of the Americas. You see some real movement there in the middle of the pack. A lot of drivers not getting up to speed so well. Some crunching heading into the top corner, but it does look like Brady Motes has taken the lead away from Gavin Rogers. They race side by side through the first turns.
Well, everybody made it out in one piece, so that's a good sign.
It does appear as though everyone is out in one piece. Cameron Stearns not taking the start. Looks like lots of movement. Patrick Hernandez is around, though. He had a great qualifying effort. The number 91 gets it back going again. Tough going here in the very early going for Patrick, but of course, this is still a lot to play for over the course of this event. Dustin Stallings, Jeremy Clapper Newell having a little bit of a battle here for 10th position. And wow, almost around there for Clapper Newell as he just gets through that turn complex. Meanwhile, back up front, Brady Motes making his name known here in the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. He's taken over that lead from Gavin Rogers, and he has set and sailed. The two of these cars now opening up over 3 seconds back to Richard Wolsifer, who's taken over third spot. And look at this battle going on back here. This is Adam Buzzio, who now comes back into 5th place. Looks like he dropped a couple of positions there on the start. This was a little bit earlier. We'll get to that in just a second as they're still fighting for position here. This is Carl Pooler and Zachary King battling as Zachary blinks out for a second, but comes back on the screen in the Dubby machine. So it looks like Pooler able to hold him off, and Pooler now safely back into the 6th position. Zachary King with a momentary off track. He's now racing Storm and Ronnie Norman, who's dropped a couple of positions. Ronnie gets into the quarter panel of Zachary King as they come through the corner. And Alex, these are not tanks out here, so you do still kind of have to be a little careful, as we see Brendan Maddox having a moment there in the final corner sliding off.
Oh my Lord, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. There's going to be a little bit of banging. The door touches and quarter panel touches, that's going to be common out here. Once the pack kind of thins out a little bit, it'll be a little bit better. As we take a look
this was
here.
Yeah, this was actually, we might have to back this up because it didn't quite go at the right spot there. But coming into turn 1, this was Gavin Rogers making that pass on Brady Motes back for the lead. Are we going to see a lot of swapping for position potentially between these two? Maybe so, but looks like Gavin's opened up about a 10 car length lead already over Brady. And in the meantime, Buzzio has also claimed another position, this time from Carl Pooler, now getting up into that 4th spot. Wolsifer gained 4 spots on that start. And we want to take a look here at what happened to Buzzio. This was him going off track for a moment and losing several positions, then coming back on track. You can just see the car streaming by as he gets off the racing line, and they just pretty much freight train him through those first couple of corners. but back into 4th position for Buzzio. And it looks like Ronnie Norman has almost recovered back to where he qualified in the 7th position. In the meantime, back up front, and it is actually closed up a little bit. This could be quite a battle here between Rogers and Brady Moats. And so far, neither one of these two able to run away from the other.
Yeah, we got to give some credit to Wolsifer as well. He has had quite a tough run during the season, but he's holding the 3rd position fairly well here. I know he's been up in podium once, and he's had a kind of a rough season, but it's good to see his name up here in the top 3 so far.
Yeah, he's got a lot to fight for here in this championship. I know he's one of the proud oval racers who feels like he hasn't quite gotten the results that he really wants to get out of the machine there for Limitless Esports, but he's a solid trooper, and right now he's hanging on to that 3rd spot. He might have to deal with a contention from Adam Buzzio in a moment. You see Borbell now coming through the field once again. 4 spots gained in the Sundance Pizza Machine, and someone's eating well tonight, having himself some Sundance pizza, I imagine, but it's got him all fired up now. He's taking a look at the back of Zachary King, and that would be for a top 10, moving into 9th position. Also, oh, look at this move down the inside of Zachary King. Not good enough. Patrick Hernandez, who had that opening lap spin, is kind of drifting back there, and then you're seeing that blinking Zachary King in front. Fortunately, it's only a momentary blink, not causing too big of an issue. There goes Borbell down the inside. A little bit of beating and banging there. Oh, and it looks like King comes back across the track and wipes out Borbell. I tell you, that might have been a little bit of payback, but something went wrong there. And King ended up moving back ahead, but I think he's going to wait and let Borbell by. He does kind of the gentlemanly thing, although possibly if we jump on board, I don't know, he may have something broken in the steering. Yeah, if you see how hard he's turning to the right, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got some damage in that steering for sure after that impact.
Well, that's the danger. I said they're not tanks. They're more prima donnas than tanks. And there goes Matthew Quarter on by. So things going from bad to worse. There, Dustin Stallings has dropped out. Looks like maybe a connection error. So unfortunate for Stallings. But in the meantime, up front, Gavin Rogers puts in a qualifying lap, I think, even faster than when he qualified with 2:13.41 as he gets those tires up to temp in the Next Level Motorsports machine. Working on lap number 4 of 8 in this opening stage. There will be no caution flags for spins or crashes here tonight, so keep that in mind. That's one of the reasons why there have been no cautions thus far. And that is also part of the strategy a lot of these drivers are going to have to deal with out there. No save your bacon just because somebody else crashes or spins out here tonight.
Welcome to road racing. You got to learn to dodge some cars every once in a while.
Yes, indeed. And this is kind of the bulk of road racing. It starts to get a little bit spread out, even in a short stage like this. You got to deal with one-on-one attacks, forward and backward. Yes, sometimes it does get a little hectic with multiple cars, but this is a lot of what happens when you settle in for these road races is you really just got to stay glued onto what you need to do on the track. Just work the track in your car, put in the best laps that you can, and try and get the best result that you can. Make the passes where the opportunities open up. And otherwise do like what Gavin Rogers is doing right now and just try to set sail and open up a little bit of a gap over your next closest competitor. And he's doing a fine job at that right now, opening up over a 5-second gap to Brady Moats. But now you see this close battle here. That's because Buzzio has now gotten by Wolsifer for that podium position. So Buzzio now showing a little bit of road racing skill out here tonight, back up to where he qualified in that 3rd spot. Looks like Wolsifer still hanging on pretty well there in fourth, perhaps going to have another lunge. Let's take a look at Brendan Maddox, who had a moment not long ago. What happened here for the 33 machine of Maddox? Oh, slides on entry to the corner. Has to get that thing going again. And he does. Fortunate to only lose one spot. Looked like he had quite a challenge there coming from Hughes just behind. And back to the live picture here.
Well, in these cars too, here's the other thing about the NASCAR cars that offset from the kind of racing that I do. These cars are not blessed with ABS. So these guys, when they're working the brakes coming into the turn, they have to be especially careful coming into these turns to make sure not to lock them up. So for a newer driver, that can be extremely difficult, especially with these cars versus like the road course cars that I come from. At least in the GT3 field, we are blessed with an ABS traction control system. These cars are raw.
Yeah, and let's just face it, totally different braking system from the rotors to everything else. Totally different between these machines and those. These ones set up more for turning left and very hardly using the brakes except to get in and out of the pits. But the GT3 and purpose-built road racing machines having very high level of endurance braking that's meant to drive the cars and brake and stop the cars repeatedly. These ones can overheat if you use them up too much. And another trick of road racing, of course, is being able to trail brake, and it certainly helps in cars like these where you don't have the downforce necessarily to turn the car. You use that brake to maybe get a little bit of extra rotation on the rear, but once again, depending on where your brake bias is set on the car, you could definitely overcook those rears, and the next thing you know, you're sliding around. You've lost all your grip on the rear end. So a lot of tricks to know if you're going to go out and do some road racing in these next-gen machines, and certainly you got to keep all of these road racing tricks that you know, but you got to be able to feel out how the car is doing. We've got lots of cars taking some off tracks here. Just watching the events log as it's coming through. Lots of cars choosing to go off track and come back on as we now hit. We're just working on our 5th lap here. Actually, working on our 6th lap. And it does look like still continuing in the lead. Gavin Rogers now up to almost a 10-second lead in the Sundance Pizza number 77. And, of course, Ashley Pooler out there rooting on Carl Pooler, but Donna Lee rooting on Gavin Rogers. So something to cheer about in the Lee household for sure right now, watching their car out there doing a bang-up job in that top spot. Brady Motes now settling into second place in his Toyota for Full Send eSports. This has been a good drive for him so far in this first stage. He took over the lead for a moment and then gave it back up to Gavin Rogers in turn 1, but not really looking like he has any challenges coming from the rear at the moment, as Adam Buzzio is 3.3 seconds back. Now, just as much as I say that, Buzzio is closing in, and I don't know if he's going to have enough time in this first stage to get that position, but he is getting darn close there, and he's turning laps a little bit faster. About a half a second. Actually, no, I take it back. I'm looking at it backwards. It's about a second, 1.3 seconds that last time faster than Brady Motes. So we may see a challenge here for second place before too long from Adam Buzzio.
And Buzzio's done, minus his little hiccup at the very beginning, he's been very consistent. And we've seen every one of his moves he's been very consistent with. So he's closing that gap, and hopefully he can do it here in the next couple laps. And the drivers are definitely taking advantage of the full track. You're seeing them kind of cross over the rumbles, get into the green and gray patches that you're seeing on the side of the track. The edges of the track can be used depending on what league is going on. Sometimes the road courses you get penalized for going off the edge of the track, but I think the drivers are safe here, so use all that track while you got it.
Yeah, certainly, maximizing the track, getting a very good run through the corner on the outside, getting your turn-ins, your apexes, your exits just right, and of course all of your inputs with your throttle and your brakes, very key to getting the perfect laps around here. And as you said, staying consistent is where it's at. You might be fast for a lap, but if you throw it away on the next lap, you've just given up everything that you've earned. So Adam Buzzio now turning in the second fastest laps on the track consistently, 2:15.59, which is about how he qualified. And he is a solid second a lap faster than Brady Motes. So as I said, this is closing in very quickly as they're working on lap number 7 here. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to claw in Brady Motes, who's still about 3 seconds ahead, but he's working on it. Meantime, go ahead.
Yeah, he's definitely working on it. Let me do the calculations here, see how quick he should catch up if he continues the way he's going.
Well, I mean, my rough math says he's still going to be a little bit over a second back. But again, that depends. It's all about that consistency. I mean, if Brady has an off track and puts himself at a disadvantage, I mean, this could be a perfect opportunity for Buzzio to pounce on that off track. And in the meantime, Ronnie Norman is kind of stabilized back here in 6th place. He might be able to chase down Carl Pooler for 5th. Who remains just ahead under a second here. So you're seeing him now come back through the field after losing some positions in the first part of this stage. So he is working his way through, although Pooler doing a good job to hang on to 5th, which is where he qualified. Everybody else is kind of stabilizing into their positions. Nobody really too close besides this battle right now as we're working our way towards the end of this first stage. Jared Hughes back here taking some off tracks. Back up here in front, Gavin Rogers now working on that 8th lap, trying to get to the end of this lap, and then that will be a full course caution for the stage break. In which case we'll get a chance to talk about the Sundance, or at least show you some of what Sundance Pizza has in store for you. Certainly enough to get you up off the couch maybe and go pick one up. But Gavin doing a bang-up job here in the first stage. Brady Motes showing his name very well in the BRB Buttkicker Series on road courses right now, hanging on in 2nd place. And Adam Buzzio in that 3rd spot, 2.5 coming down quickly, 2.4 seconds back on this long straightaway from Brady Motes. And I think one of the keys here, Alex, is the exits that Adam is able to get. Brady is just not quite getting the exits onto these long straightaways, and that costs you all the way down that straightaway.
Yeah, the exits, and this is something that we practice very heavy on the road course side, is a consistent, strong exit is going to give you so much more speed on the back straight. In the long back straight that we get to see all these drivers run down, where they're getting up to the highest speeds they're going to see on this track, coming out of that corner, that is going to allow you to chase down a car by the end of it. So your entry is key, but your exit is what's going to allow you to gain or lose positioning.
Well, Gavin Rogers does take this first stage, but you saw how close this battle was. Ronnie Norman able to get by Carl Pooler. This was just a moment ago. Check out this little battle between these two as they work out who would take over 5th place, or who would hold on to 5th place in this first stage. And long straightaway, side by side, they come down into that corner, and Ronnie Norman manages to pull ahead, but not before Gavin Rogers tries to challenge him again. Ronnie has to take the inside line into the next corner. Carl unable to get back around, though he does challenge one more time. And it's Ronnie Norman who then gets the final run out of these corners, and that's where we picked up the coverage. And we jump back to this live picture as everybody gets up to the caution flag, and we're going to take a momentary break here on VirtualRacing.Network. We'll be back for our second stage. It'll be another 8 laps. Will be Gavin Rogers, who can continue to put in the points and possibly take victory here tonight, or will it be Brady Boats, Adam Buzzio? Turn 1 is always a little bit of a calamity. We'll see who manages to do the best job of it when we come back here on VirtualRacing.Network. Stay tuned. And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. You see it live right now on your screen. Pits are open. Everybody choosing to come in, with the exception of one driver, who I believe it's Dustin Stallings. He's going to take the wave around. So good for him to get one of his laps back. He might actually
he'll be back on the lead lap now. Yep.
Yeah, so good for him. Not too risky of a strat, as we will have the next stage break as long as he doesn't have to do a green flag stop. So it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. But you can see Gavin Rogers now sitting on pit lane. He'll pull back out, and no problem for him to retake first. Still a lot of shuffling back here, though, in the group. As you see, Carl Pooler actually kind of a loser there in this pit stop exchange, back into 9th. Patrick Hernandez into 8th place. Zachary King, despite his issues, actually claiming some spots there in the pit stops with a very short pit. Only 8.72, so not changing tires gains him several positions on that pit stop exchange. Ronnie Norman up into 5th place. Richard Wolsifer now into 4th, as he was when he came in. And Buzzio, Motes, and Rogers, that is 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, which is how they came into the pits. Still under caution here for the stage break. We'll be coming back in just a moment with more racing coming at you for stage number 2 of the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. You saw all that tasty stuff that they have over at Sundance Pizza. Of course, this is the Sundance Pizza 100. You can't forget that if you got a sweet tooth, they've also got some great frozen yogurt and ice cream there as well. Lots and lots of good stuff over at Sundance Pizza in Wickenburg, Arizona. Head on over to their website and check it out. See all of the yummy treats that await you. We're going to be back here in just a moment with green flag coverage. In the meantime, enjoy a little bit of tunes, grab yourself your favorite, perhaps adult beverage, and kick back and get ready for some more great racing from the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. We'll be right back. And welcome back live here at the virtual circuit of the Americas. We're still under the stage caution, though this is the last lap of that caution. We've actually just been informed by a new guest who's joining us here in the broadcast booth. You may know him from his business, the Rev Sim Shop. It was one of our sponsors earlier in the season, and Rev, the man behind the Rev Sim Shop, joins us here in the booth. And you were telling us, Rev, that in fact there's been a little bit of a change of plans in terms of the next stage and the stage caution.
We're not going to throw the yellow for the next stage. We're going to be taking points when the leader crosses the line. That way it's as fair as we can be, because these cautions are a little extra.
Yeah, road course racing, I know a lot of leagues do not do yellow flags. Official racing a lot of times does not do the yellow flags, and this is the reason. It just, a big track like this, it just takes forever to do these laps. So yeah, good thing. And I know some leagues just avoid it altogether with the stage breaks and everything. They just race straight on through. There's no yellow flags, but still one of the drivers did get his lap back. That's Dustin Stallings. And as a result, you know, it's a fair, clean slate for everybody out there. You've been enjoying this one so far. Your thoughts so far? Seeing a little bit of a battle there between Brady Moats and Gavin Rogers up at the top.
I'm telling you, it's always a good time to see some of our top drivers battle it out. And when they get onto a road course, I think that really does accentuate the talent level of some drivers, and it really helps showcase the other drivers of what they can learn from a better driver in the league. And it has been very exciting.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know, a lot of these drivers, maybe they don't specialize in road courses. Maybe they honestly don't even try to do much road course racing because it's not really necessary to win some of these championships or get into the chase or whatever. But for the regular season championship, of course, getting the most amount of points as possible is a good way to go. But you can get out here, you can follow around behind some of the faster drivers and really check it out and see where maybe you could get a little bit faster onto the gas coming through a corner, or see how much better someone's braking is in front of you. And good luck keeping up with Gavin Rogers, but if you're a little bit further back in the pack, always a good chance to get out there, follow somebody, maybe try to make some practice moves on them, and just get more familiar with road course racing.
Oh, absolutely. Like real life road course racing was like my forte. That's something I enjoyed. And one of the things I try to do is in these practices, I try to help some of these drivers out with some tips and tricks that will help you to get around these corners.
And what did you get to race out there?
I did chump car racing. We had a 1994 Lincoln Town Car that we converted into a race car.
That sounds like a riot. That sounds like an absolute riot.
That's right up your alley there, Alex.
Yeah, I had the pleasure. I went out to Road America with a track setup Mustang and had the opportunity to do that. But these guys are going to have an opportunity to go green here in just a second as we round into the starting positions.
Yeah, and we've got Ronnie Norman now up into 4th place, so he's up 2 spots already. Green flag is in the hands of Barney the Flagman, and I believe we are green right now. Gavin Rogers stepping on it. A little bit further back, some more shaking up as Moats has been passed by Buzzio into turn 1. What will happen here? They're still side by side. A lot of bunching a little bit further back. I see Maddox getting held up there, and still side by side between Buzzio and Moats as they come through that first complex of corners. Moats retakes the position from Buzzio.
Oh, got one sideways.
We do, and that's Jared Hughes back here. He's not just sideways, he's in. Did he go into the tires? It looks like he may have just stopped short of those tires. We'll back it up here. Let's take a look at this wild ride from Jared Hughes. Did he get help? Or was this a self-inflicted incident? No, he just loses the grip and noses it into the tire wall. Actually, that's, I forget the name of that type of wall there, but it's like a push together plastic, you fill it with water wall. And he gets it back going again, but look at all those positions he's lost. Back to 16th place. Tough move there for Jared Hughes to start this second stage. Gavin Rogers opening up now a 1.6 second lead over Brady Motes, who goes very wide through the corner, which you can do there. Adam Buzzio holding on to third. Richard Wolsifer in fourth, as Ronnie Norman has slipped back here. We'll have to take a look and see. I'm not seeing. I see maybe this is where Ronnie had a problem, as he's sitting there still having a battle with Brendan Maddox for 8th place. This is your points leader right now, really struggling out here. Not a road course master by any stretch of the imagination, but lots of experience on these road courses in other leagues. So he does have some strong familiarity with these machines. Let's take a look back and see if this is where possibly he lost so many of those positions. This was on the start. You see him out there wide, and it looks like a number of cars able to get by him into turn one, and then he still stays out there wide, still losing positions. And then the number 2 machine, the number 71, and the number 33 all managed to get by him over the next couple of laps, or the next couple of corners, so not exactly sure where it all took place. In the meantime, back to it live, and Rogers still out in front, Motes in second, Buzzio in third, Carl Pooler, one of the fan favorites, now hanging out in 7th place, as Stephen Borbell has gotten by him into the 6th spot in the Sundance Pizza Machine. And looking a little bit further back, there's Dustin Stalling. He's the one who got that lap back. And now we're seeing some more jockeying for position, as it looks like Clapper Newell and Evan Patinko have had a problem. But Carl Pooler has also just had a problem, just as we were looking away. This is what happened to Carl Pooler just a second ago. Alex, this just really goes back to, again, early part of the stage, colder tires, you got to be consistent through all parts of the stage.
Yeah, these tires, they're still cold yet. I mean, we got a couple pace laps in, but they're definitely not up to temp yet, and we're going to see it's harder to retain these cars, and I know my experience with them. I have not had a pleasant experience on road course, and it takes a lot to keep these cars settled. And Circuit of the Americas is definitely a technical track. It's not the easiest one out there for sure that these cars could be thrown on.
And yet they're having a lot of fun out here. I don't know if fun's the right word. Sometimes it's more bothersome to have to do these big side-by-side battles than it is a lot of fun. But Brendan Maddox and Ronnie Norman now battling for 7th position out here. Zachary King has slipped back a little bit, now in 9th place, but he's starting to close in on this group. Matthew Porter looking on from 10th place as he looks to get by Zachary King. And meanwhile, just up in front, there is the passing going on. There goes Ronnie Norman down the inside of Brendan Maddox, and he will take over that position. But there you see King going sideways in turn one. He's going to lose a lot of those positions he had just gained, now back to 12th spot.
Well, and we've talked about it once before, and I'm sure we'll see it a couple more times yet. It looked like, there's Newell. Looks like he got loose and got up in next to the wall. I don't think he actually got into the wall. But we've talked about this a couple times as these drivers are getting up. And I don't know how particular these cars are about the rumbles, but they can definitely get a little excited. There we are, still lap 1, cold tires, and just the rear end coming around. These are prima donnas. These are not the easiest thing to drive.
Well, Rev, you were telling me a little bit earlier that you like to give some of these drivers some tips when they need them for road course racing. What are your tips to being able to stay consistent and get through one of these stages as we watch this battle between Patrick Hernandez and Richard Wolsifer?
I think some of the best advice I can give a driver, almost regardless of skill level, is slower is almost always faster on a road course. especially on a more technical course like here at COTA. I learned that lesson the hard way IRL at Sebring, and that's, I think, one of the biggest things you can take home is, yes, you may be able to brake in time to make the corner and then come out pretty flat so you get the more speed on the exit, but that's not going to last long for your tires, and especially when you're on a bigger vehicle like these with a smaller contact pack, you really need to mind that. Regardless of track condition, that is going to ruin your race later on.
Yeah, the tire management is huge, and Alex, I know you know a lot about tire management, also doing those longer endurance races.
Well, and tire management's definitely going to come in play, and we're going to have to see how it's going to shake down. We've got 15 to go, but on this track, with how long it is, we might very likely see another pit. It's going to really depend on how these drivers are feeling. Keep in mind, our first pit came in at just 8 laps.
Yes, indeed.
I'm not aware of how many actually took 4 tires, did they? I think everybody took 4.
With the exception of Dustin's, let's see. We've got Brendan Maddox doing 5.43 in the box, so no, that looks like a fuel and go. And Carl Pooler also choosing not to take 4, and that perhaps tells the story of why Stallings and Pooler have struggled. Maddox and Stallings have struggled a little bit here in this second stage. Saw a little bit of a lockup up here from Norman, who's now slid back. Borbell got around him. It looks like Brady Moats and Adam Buzzio kind of had a moment there as well. Let's take a look at Moats, who spent some time off track. There's 2 off tracks shown for Moats, so we'll have to watch and see how extreme this gets, but there he goes off track there. And then the second one, he spends a bit of time. It might be this corner coming up, because you can definitely go way wide on exit. A very wide apex there, and then he sends it out quite wide coming through the corner. No harm, no foul there, but we do have another moment here from Zachary King. Looks like he had another issue in that yellow and purple number 51. And guys, that's just maybe braking a little too hard with a little too much rear brake bias coming into turn 1.
Yeah,
it definitely works that way.
One thing, that he's a fairly new driver in iRacing as well. He a lot of people like to try to brake as late as possible and then turn that wheel, and that's, I think, a prime example of what he just did.
Well,
turning the wheel while you're braking.
Yeah, and when you're brand new, I think you connect naturally with certain types of tracks. It's real easy to do. I don't know, the easiest probably is super speedway racing, but some people really get on with short track racing, or maybe this type of road course, that type of road course, but you might really struggle with others that your skills just haven't quite developed to that level yet. And iRacing is just so demanding. It is in a lot of ways like real life racing. If you do get it just a little wrong, this is not Forza. This is not Gran Turismo. It's very precise, and in the old days it used to be called ice racing for a reason, because you get it a little bit wrong and there you go around. Brendan Maddox got his mirror full right now with these drivers, Carl Pooler and Dustin Stallings. Here comes Pooler around the outside, perhaps Maddox for 8th. Nope. Manages to shut the door there, but a lot of close racing between these drivers right now. You can see Pooler moving up into that 8th spot in this second stage. So I believe with that, we have just finished the second stage. So that would put Rogers, Moats, Buzzio, Wolsifer, and Borbell now, as he's battling with Ronnie Norman into that 5th spot.
Borbell has had a heck of a run here, and he is up 9 spots as I'm looking at this here. He has made a trip through this field, and looks like he's going to keep knocking on the door of Wolsifer, trying to continue his trip through the field as well.
Oh, and it looks like Borbell getting a little wide there, a little squirrely coming through the corner and off, and Norman not quite able to capitalize. Looks like Norman still following very closely there to Borbell up in front, and there you see Wolsifer now part of this battle as well. I wonder if Wolsifer had a moment. Just checking back here, I'm not seeing any official reports of Wolsifer going off track or having a big moment, but
Wolsifer got a little loose out of that last turn before going into the start-finish line there.
There you go. Well, Wolsifer now has a mirror full of Borbell. That's a lot more Mustang than you want to be seeing in your rearview mirror right now.
And Rev, maybe you can attest to this. At this point in time, as a driver, what is running through your head?
Maintain consistency. Make sure I'm hitting my marks, not trying to pay attention too much to the people around me. Because if I'm not within 5 or 7 to go at a road course, I'm really trying to pay attention on what I'm doing to ensure the car is there for me when I need it at the end of the run.
Yeah, and we still have 13 laps to go. So this is not done and dusted by any chance. So you still have all those opportunities afforded to you from other cars in front that might slide off the track, might use up their equipment. This is a perfect time to be putting in those really consistent low laps if you can.
Yeah, I mean, you take advantage of a situation if you have to, but outside of that, I don't want to force anything at this point in the race. I really want to focus more on making sure that car is going to be there towards the end when I'm really going to push it harder.
Well, and it's tough to do if you're like Brendan Maddox or Matthew Corder. Of course, you're back in 11th, 12th position. You want to come forward in a hurry. You want to try to get up there towards the top 5, but you're dealing with, racing each other on the track. And if you got the opportunity to get by somebody, you got to go up there and try and force the issue. And it sounds like they're listening to the broadcast, because there goes Matthew Corder on by Brendan Maddox. Maddox really been struggling.
Yep.
Maddox did not take tires on that stop, and as a result, he's still out there on the, I don't know if he's on the original set. It does say that he's made 2 trips into the pits. I believe he might have pitted at a different time, but rough stuff for him. But now we've got another battle happening right now. This is Adam Buzzio and Brady Moats side by side as they approach quarter onto the backstretch here. Moats able to stay ahead for the moment, but Buzzio is right there, and this is shades of what we saw in the first stage with Adam Buzzio closing in on that second place.
Now, Adam, he has some IRL experience on road courses as well. He did Champ Car, I believe, for a full season.
And I know Champ Car from being the precursor, or the successor to Kart and etc. But I know there's a different Champ Car out there.
Yes, the Champ Car used to be Chump Car Racing, which was, bring what you got. It's a $500 race car, quote unquote. You get time penalties for anything over that value of the Blue Book.
Nice.
And it was an exciting racing. We always called it the Mechanic Series because, most of these guys had worked at a level much higher than that and never really got the chance to be the driver. So they go out there with a junk car and make it work for 14 hours at Sebring or Daytona or Atlanta, all the big tracks.
So
it was a lot of fun.
That's kind of like Lemons, the
Lemons was even before Chump Car.
Okay, I'm dating myself. I'm not afraid to do that.
I guess I just dated myself too.
Yeah. Well, it's so cool. For those of you who aren't familiar with what we're talking about, is this great battles going on screen between Brady Moats and Adam Buzzio. Buzzio taking the victory last week and looking to gain some more points here. And Moats has been out of the series for a while, but he's trying to claw back and get himself into chase contention. Yeah, so instead of just going out and buying the fastest equipment that you can, the best equipment, and paying the most amount of money that you have in your budget to go the fastest, these different series exist out there that you can basically, you're limited to only spending, $500 or $1,000 maximum on a car, which means generally you go to a junkyard or you go buy a real junker from somebody and you just do your best to make it in the best possible condition and go out there. And it's mostly just about having fun, though some people do take it very seriously. It's just about going out and having fun and doing some real life road racing.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a great time because there's a lot of people that are there just to have that fun, and they want to do it with you, not against you. And if you're in the racing industry at all, you make connections you never thought you would have made. And I mean, I've got some longtime friends who are still in NASCAR today. I worked in NASCAR myself for 6 years.
Wow.
So, yeah. I was a car chief for the number 73 ARCD Hooker machine driven by Eric McClure.
No kidding. That is awesome stuff, man. I remember McClure running around. He had some good success. So obviously you being a part of that.
But
well,
we always gave him a bunch of crap. But he was very, very dedicated to his craft. I'll never speak ill of him, but all drivers have their moments.
Well, I know that there are a lot of teams in NASCAR that, at least back in the day, they used to go out there and start and park and collect the money. So if you at least got to compete on a team and go out there and give it your all, what a cool thing to be able to be at the top level and be able to compete. And, you being the chief, get to make some changes and make your driver go faster. That's got to be a very satisfying feeling.
Yeah, I was a car chief, not the crew chief. The crew chief takes ownership of the car when it gets to the hauler. I take it when he brings it back, regardless of how many pieces that is.
I was going to say, that could be a lot of pieces.
So is it your job to put it back together then if there's pieces missing?
Depends on my assessment. And based on budget a lot, because we were a very low budget team. And a lot of the time we would haul out to a race and then realize we didn't have what we needed to compete in it. And it's kind of disheartening because you do put a lot of work in. You put in probably just as much, if not more, than some of those bigger teams. And know that your rear end is probably not going to last a race or something like that. Kind of bums you out after a while.
Yeah, and I can understand at that point you start looking laterally for moves you can make or ways that you can try to make a difference. But at some point, it just makes sense that sometimes you just got to exit the whole game altogether and call it a day and say, I had some fun, I had some success, but it's time to enter a new chapter in my life. And I've certainly played that game a few times in different industries, so I know all of what that's about. As we're watching this great battle here between Richard Wolsifer and Stephen Borbell, this is for 4th and 5th place. As Alex was alluding to, Borbell's had one heck of a race, up 9 spots from where he qualified, so perhaps not getting in the qualifying effort that he would have wanted, but now really rising to the top and looking at a potential top 5 here. Wolsifer holding on for dear life in that Limitless eSports Chevy, number 56 on your screen. He is hanging on to that 4th place and not willing to give it up. He's survived all kinds of challenges. You also see Roddy Norman in the picture back here. He's trying to reclaim maybe a couple of these spots. He's been able to poke his nose up towards the top 3 a couple of times, but not able to stay there. Starman Ronnie Norman, as he'll admit to, not the ultimate road course expert, but again, all these points are valuable. And if Roddy wants to take that regular season championship from Gavin Rogers tonight, this was not the performance that's going to do it. Although if he ends up in 6th place, that's if that's what he can do on a road course, then that's as good as he can do. But Gavin will take over the points lead if Ronnie Norman cannot find some serious mojo here in the remaining 9 laps of this race. But watching on here, this is a great battle happening for 4th place. Looks like we've had a moment here from Zachary King, who's now gone off track. This was back in 13th place. Almost gets passed there by Brendan Maddox, who's also suffering some issues in this race. And Brady Motes, in the meantime, has lost the 2nd position. I saw another off track from him, but he's been doing that all night, so I just kind of ignored it. And it looks like the 28 of Erickson kind of goes wide there in the corner. Let's take a look here at what happened just a moment ago from Brady Motes, and perhaps this will tell us a story. Not sure if he's already... Yeah, it looks like he's already lost the position by that point. See if we can track down exactly when that... Here was actually the pass, so... Let's see here. It does look like a side-by-side moment between these 2 drivers as they come through the corners, and there's Motes ahead, but Buzzio lines him up at the end of that very long straight. Remember, Motes was not getting off well off the corner onto that long straight, and Buzzio was, and he managed to get that straightaway speed, get by, and then over the next couple of corners, Motes having to take the defensive line and Buzzio on the preferred line, able to close the door and get that spot away from Motes. And now that moves last week's winner, Adam Buzzio, into 2nd position, and he's going to start to climb the points again. Although Gavin Rogers, his teammate, basically cleaning up here tonight, qualified on pole, took the 1st stage, took the 2nd stage. And here he is looking at 7.5 more laps here to taking the overall race win. But guys, it's been a fun, interesting race overall. Looks like Ronnie Norman has managed to get by Wolsifer. And this is just typical road course racing. You can't stay consistent the whole race. You're going to find yourself sliding backwards in a hurry.
The 56 got loose and spun out, and he lost a couple of positions.
Well, I suppose we could go back and check that out here. We can get that to queue up. He lost positions, but let's check this out because software doesn't exactly show it right. But here is the pass that you're talking about. This was Borbell getting by Wolsifer. Oh. That looked like he had a little bit of the old chrome horn help.
Yep.
There might be a little bit of argument back at the trailers when this is all said and done after that one.
Yes, sir.
I had to mark that on the sheet.
Are you doing some of the race control stuff for this race?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why I'll get quiet real quick.
Gotcha.
Well, and that's unfortunately that is part of it to some degree too. And I've had my fair share of, even on the road course, you know, somebody gets into the braking line too late, or you get out too early, or somebody loses it. It's unfortunately part of racing. I know Wolsifer's had a rough go. I know when he was fighting for the upper positions, it was either race 1 or race 2 of the season. He was in the upper group and got collected in a big wreck coming out of that race. And it's definitely one of those that, and there goes Borbell. Borbell having some issues now too. That's going to put Norman in the 4th spot.
I mean, we're just talking about consistency. This is one of those tracks where it's just like, if you can keep it straight and keep fairly competitive lap times, you're probably going to walk away with the top 5. But you can't keep doing little mistakes like that and giving up all that time. It's easy for me to say from the broadcast booth. I know I've done plenty of road course racing, and it is just, it seems so easy when you're watching it to just, you know, keep it consistent, and yet it's like golfing. It's so easy to watch on TV, but you try going golfing and you quickly find out how difficult it is.
Well, and about this point in time in the race, I know I race, sometimes I race with monitors hooked up, or sometimes I even race with VR. I don't know how many of the guys are doing that, where they put on a VR headset so they can turn their head inside the cockpit. But about this point, they've been on the track long enough that sweat starts rolling down, and you really gotta hone in your nerves to try to keep consistent here. And this is not an easy race. It's very technical, and this is going to be a trial of survival for sure.
Absolutely, I'm going to agree with you there. This is the part of the race where if you've done your homework and you've studied those that are in front of you, you know where your pass is going to be. And this is where you start to contemplate when you're going to make that pass to take another position or two.
Well, I'll tell you who's been doing a bang-up job, and that's Gavin Rogers. This guy, you talk about consistent, 2:15.18, not the fastest driver, actually, the last lap. That was Buzzio with a 2:15.02, and Brady Motes putting in a 2:15.19, but consistent. And by that consistency, he's managed to claw 17 seconds out, and that's the one big advantage that you gain by being consistent. If you can open up a nice buffer to that car behind, it affords you the chance that, if you do encounter a car who's not exactly participating well in letting you go by, a lap car or something along that line, or you end up maybe just overcooking it into a corner, you build that buffer to the point where you're not worried about losing a position, and you can get the car righted again. You can maybe take a little bit more time passing cars and making sure that you effectively get by those lap cars very successfully, and really just take your time a little bit more. And that's what Gavin has been able to give himself here by opening up this huge lead and staying consistent. In the meantime, looking back, I can't believe that it's a full 18 seconds back, but that's the distance back to Adam Buzzio. 19 seconds now back to Buzzio, who has managed to stay consistent enough that Brady Motes' slight inconsistencies are the thing that cost him the most. And as a result, Buzzio now finds himself in second place, Motes in third, and Ronnie Norman has moved himself up officially into that fourth spot. So what a great run for Ronnie Norman, who had slid back down the order. And honestly, this is what we've seen from Ronnie Norman. He's not afraid to lose some positions. He doesn't necessarily always have race-winning speed, but he has the ability to claw back those positions and get up there in the top 5 solidly. That's what he's doing right now. And, of course, his teammate up in front of him by 21 seconds, Brady Motes, is looking to give Full Send eSports 2 cars in the top 5. Talk about dominated by 2 teams. Next Level Motorsports first and second, then Full Send eSports third and fourth, and then Next Level Motorsports in Stephen Borbell right now hanging on in 5th place with a possible chance at 4th from Ronnie Norman. Good racing here, guys. 5 laps to go for Gavin Rogers. It's put in a solid race so far, but we've seen a lot of great battles throughout the field.
Yeah, we definitely have, and as you start watching these battles, when these guys start getting closer and closer, and you can start seeing who is taking the better line and who's got a better exit, because you'll watch as the drivers come out, the individuals that are getting the better exit are the ones that they're running up on the bumper. Because there's really no draft here, and there's really not much downforce because there's not enough room to get up to speed that these downforce really starts coming into play. It's all coming down to the exit. So that's where you can really start climbing if you have a better entry and a better exit here, and that's where that consistency comes into play.
Well, this has been also a great performance from Patrick Hernandez from Ghost Motorsports. He qualified pretty well in the top 5. He's managed to, he had a big incident early that drifted him back towards the back of the pack, but he's managed to claw himself back right now, sitting in 7th position behind these other drivers that have really shown well here in the end of the first stage and in the second stage and throughout this third stage in Borbell and Wolsifer and Norman. But Hernandez right now holding on, and of course at Ghost Motorsports leading the group there. Carl Pooler and Wolsifer, Richard Wolsifer, being rooted on by Ashley Pooler in our YouTube chat room. Great to have you joining us, Ashley, and of course, Donna, thank you so much for joining us over here tonight. Always great to have participation. Feel free to let us know who you're rooting on and what you think of the racing going on out here. It's always great to chat with our fans live here for the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. So Dustin Stallings just behind in the number 10 machine. He slid all the way to the back, as actually we've had another moment here from Wolsifer, who's now lost a couple of positions. Let's see if we can... Let's take a look at this one, as it looks like maybe he slid off track just before this, and then perhaps, I would say if this were real life, he got some grass on his tires. But yeah, just has trouble exiting that corner, and looks like it starts to come around on him. Manages to get it collected, but unfortunately he did not have enough of a buffer build up to the cars behind, and Pooler and Stallings able to take over those spots. So just 4 laps remaining here for Gavin Rogers, Adam Buzzio in second, Brady Moats in third, Ronnie Norman hanging on in fourth place. It's still a tight battle, though, between Norman and Borbell. I'm not sure. Borbell could possibly have a lunge before it's all over. Speaking of lunges, look at this side-by-side battle happening right now. Stallings just taking over 7th place from Carl Pooler. You see Wolsifer there to try to capitalize as well. And the 71 almost makes contact with the 10 of Stallings. And just to let you know how infrequently these guys do road course races, Stallings with a rookie road course license out there right now. And that is compared to Carl Pooler, who has an A license with 4.18 rating, which is a fantastic rating for him. Oh my goodness. This is getting really hairy here, guys.
Well, and right now, if you're fighting for that position, you've got 3 to go. The kind of frowned upon move, if you're going to try to force the issue, would be to get your nose on the inside. And we've seen Pooler do it about twice now, where he's kind of got his nose on the inside to try to get that inside line into the turn. What that's going to do, it is going to cost him coming out of that turn. He's not going to be able to retain near as much speed because he had to slow down to get into that turn. But it might work in his favor coming up to this turn 1 if he has the room to do it. But that's if Wolsifer doesn't have anything to say. Wolsifer's sitting there knocking on the door too, so it's only going to take one mistake from one of these drivers, and then it's going to shuffle.
Well, they are teammates over there at Limitless eSports, and certainly, Rev, you would know about this. Rule number 1 is don't crash into your teammate.
Oh, absolutely not, because you have to deal with him more than just once a week.
Yeah, I learned that lesson racing in our league. Accidentally lapped down, gave my my teammate a little love tap there, and upset him, and I didn't hear the end of that one for a long time.
And you probably won't for a much longer time.
Right. Oh, brake lock up there coming into turn 1.
We've had Brady Moats check out on us. He lost the position there to Ronnie Norman, and then Moats dropped out.
Packet loss.
Packet loss. Well, that's unfortunate stuff. So late in the going here for Brady Moats. Of course, he got passed by his teammate, and Borbell's still right in this battle. But Ronnie Norman getting by, and Brady Moats dropping out. I don't know if he'll be able to rejoin this race. It looks like he's in danger of going down a lap at in that case. So tough. You know, it's not your fault if you have packet loss or internet connections. It's kind of like having everything go all dead on the dash. It does happen in real life, and nothing you can do about it. So unfortunate for Moats there, who was having such a great showing in his Full Send Esports Toyota. But what it does do is move Storm and Ronnie Norman up one position, and he'll just get a few more points to stay at least in the battle for the regular season championship with Gavin Rogers as we head back to oval racing again next week. Just 2 more laps, though, for Gavin Rogers. The number 77 Sundance Pizza Machine is out there flying around the Circuit of the Americas. Last lap even faster, 2:14.29. Not his best lap, but faster than his laps have been as he gets a lighter and lighter tank load on that machine. And he has obviously been the class of the field out there tonight. A solid second, a lap faster than anyone else out there at the moment. Gavin really giving it a ride around Circuit of the Americas and kind of in the world of his own.
Well, and at this point, Gavin he's got such a lead. He can comfortably cruise here for a little bit, cool down the tires, and just enjoy these last couple laps. 21-second lead, unless he makes a drastic mistake. There's not enough time to even attempt to reel him back in.
They can literally settle into the Sunday drive at this point.
Well, and he's earned it. He has definitely earned his Sunday drive around Circuit of the Americas at this point.
You know, I've heard from a lot of drivers that it's actually harder to slow yourself down. It's just easier to just keep putting in laps like you have been all race as he takes that white flag from Barney the Flagman there. Guys, you know, what do you do just to make sure that you don't mess up the end of this race and throw it all away?
Just keep with the thing that's worked this long. I mean, he's found his pattern. He's found his groove. You just stay on that groove. If it works, it works, and it is definitely paying off for him. So, Absolutely. As long as he just stays where he's at, he's enjoying it. Mm-hmm.
Just carry on till the checkered flag's out. Just carry on.
Well,
he's got nobody around him to contest him, so you don't want to make any mistakes.
Last lap for Rogers, just as I was mentioning how fast he was out there, about a 2:16.80. That's more like the mid-pack drivers right now. Perhaps taking a little bit of that steam off of that machine. But you can see Borbell locking up a little bit coming into the corner. That first corner on his final lap, just trying anything he can to get up there and try and steal that podium position away from Ronnie Norman. But Ronnie has been solid here, not making many mistakes at all. In fact, I would say more just getting forced wide and then allowing some cars to get by. But Ronnie doing everything he can to hang on to that podium position. Perhaps Borbell will give it another lunge. We're watching now as it appears as though Jared Hughes has had to come into the pits. Not too sure what happened there. Take a look and see, did he have an incident? In fact, he did. So we're going to take a quick look at that one. Things going on so quickly, very difficult to get to them. And it looks like Jared Hughes having a moment here. Just going off track in turn 1. And Gavin Rogers going by Barney the Flagman, taking victory here at Circuit of the Americas. Absolutely phenomenal race, cleaning up with pole position, the first stage, the second stage, and the third stage. Maximum points.
Borbell just made a move. They are door to door coming into this final couple turns here.
Buzzio completes his race, finishing in second. Meanwhile, thank you, Alex, that this race is still going on for third. Borbell gave it a lunge. Will he be able to do one more time? He's getting close. He can feel the pizza sizzle.
More than wide. These guys are going to push it hard. Oh, and he's getting a little tap.
He gets a tap from behind. I don't know how that's going to play out. Boorbell goes around. Almost slides back into Norman, but Norman able to get on by and get that third spot. Boorbell has to recover. That was a little bit of argy-bargy there, as the great Murray Walker once said, to conclude this race. Patrick Hernandez able to get up into 5th place at the end of this one, with Brady Motes dropping out, and a parking lot up in turn 1 right now, as Gavin Rogers gets set to celebrate his victory here at Circuit of the Americas. We're going to step aside for just a moment. We'll get the final results together for you, and then we will be chatting with our top 3 finishers live here on VirtualRacing.Network. You won't want to go anywhere. Lots of good stuff to talk about here on Virtual Racing. Stay tuned.
Nope, no worries.
And welcome back here on VirtualRacing.Network. There you got to see a little bit of the butt kicker. If you don't know by now what it does, it shakes your booty. As you're racing along, you get to feel the car, and you can see a couple of the drivers out there celebrating who felt the car all night long. Want to say thank you so much for stopping in, Rev. We appreciate chatting with you tonight, and good luck with all the RCing that you have to do here, and we'll look forward to talking with you more in the future.
Yeah, anytime, gentlemen. I appreciate you and Alex. Thank you very much, and I enjoy watching your broadcast, man. You guys make this a lot of fun for this league. BRB is a great bunch of guys, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Well, super awesome to get you in here for the for this race, and again, thanks for the compliments. We'll keep trying to do better and bring you more entertaining broadcasts. Thank you for stopping in, Rev.
Well, thank you. You guys have a good night.
You too. So that was Rev from Rev Sim Shop checking in with us and bringing us a little bit of his knowledge and expertise on these cars and road racing in general. But here you can see the final results from the Sundance Pizza 100. It was Gavin Rogers who takes the win. Adam Buzzio taking second. That's 2 Next Level Motorsports in the top 3. They've got to be so pleased about that. Third place going to Ronnie Norman of Full Send eSports. His teammate Brady Motes finishing all the way down in 14th after such a strong run in the top 2 for so long. Stephen Borbell hanging on and getting 4th for Next Level Motorsports as well, completing all 3 of their cars in the top 4. Patrick Hernandez able to get through and get 5th place for Ghost Motorsports. Dustin Stallings ending up in 6th place. Carl Pooler in 8th, going to his teammate Richard Wolsifer over at Limitless Esports. Matthew Quarter for Southern Mafia finishing in 9th place. Brendan Maddox having all kinds of problems. Perhaps if he didn't have as many of those issues, he might have finished up in the top 5. He had a pretty solid race pace, but lots of issues costing him here tonight. Back in 10th, Christopher Campbell in 11th place. Jared Hughes in 12th. Matthew Erickson taking 13th place. 14th to Brady Motes and 15th to Zachary King. Evan Patinko in 16th place. Jeremy Clapper Newell in 17th. And Cameron Stearns did not get to race out there tonight in 18th place. I believe doing some duty for the league. So with that, we're going to get a chance to bring in our third place finisher here, none other than the man known as Stormin, Ronnie Norman, who finishes in third. And it was, quite an interesting race out there for you, Ronnie. Talk us through your night and obviously what you know about what happened to Brady Motes there at the end.
Yeah, I just love racing road courses, as you can tell. Very sarcastic there, but no, I shouldn't even be here on this podium, honestly. Like I said, Brady unfortunately threw put there with 3 to go, and he was, running top 3 all race. He should have been up here. So as soon as he fell out, he was like, "You better hang on to third." So I did all I could, and like I said, it was we made that final turn pretty interesting there with me and Steven, and just having somebody on your bumper on the last lap, like I was running fine every other lap, and then the last lap it just becomes so much more intense because you're just trying not to mess up your line. You're trying to hit everything right, and one little slip up, he's right there, and because he had one little slip up to let me get by, so I was just trying to be clean. And next thing you know, coming around the final 2 turns, it got interesting, and I knew he was going to try to go to the inside, and he gave me the bumper. I locked him up, and I was like, "Dang it, you got me." I mean, I thought it was clean. I wasn't really worried about it, and then he just got on the throttle too quick and looped it and gave me it back. So I guess I'm, either way, it would have been an interesting finish. It was fun. Had a fun time out here tonight, and just happy this one's over with because we know everybody looking on the schedule seeing it. We had a great turnout, so really happy with that. Really glad everybody showed up and put on a good car count because a lot of people aren't really interested in road course racing. So shout out to Adam with getting everybody in here and all the admins in here. So yeah, like I said, we had an okay race. Shouldn't be talking to you right now, but we'll definitely take it.
Well, you had a lot of good racing out there. Borbell, of course, getting a little too comfortable there in the final corner for the likes of the tight racing that you had for the rest of the race between Borbell and Wolsifer. You had a little bit of misfortune early on. You got pushed wide. A number of cars got by. It seemed like you were just kind of fighting this whole race, whether you had somebody around you or you were having to fight your way through the field, aka Storm and Ronnie Norman.
Yeah, I was just trying to take it easy, just trying not to tear the car up. Like if people went 3 wide in turn 1, I was just gonna take the benefit of the doubt and just try to pick them off and come back through the field because I knew I had some speed. Like I knew I had top 5 speed. I don't know about top 3. But I mean, it's always a good feeling when you can come through the field. But just keeping up with Steven, and I know Richard got into a little bumper there, and he was running right up there with us as well. So he easily could have been up here with you guys talking. So like I said, it was just a stay clean and stay straight kind of race. And Gavin just basically put on a clinic out here running lap times that a lot of people out here can't run, and just props to him, and also congrats to Adam on second. And like I said, just round out the podium. We'll just take it and move on.
Well, still take it and move on. It was good points to add, considering that Gavin swept the entire race. Looks like you're probably going to lose that points lead for the regular season. I know that's a fight that you're trying to get. So, definitely more to get next time out and try and stay in that regular season points battle. Who'd you like to thank for tonight's run to third?
Every week, the NOS Energy Drink for being on the car. FanDuel Sportsbook. Shout out to Snyder Graphics for painting all my paint schemes for me for all my leagues. I want to thank VirtualRacing.Network for broadcasting this every Tuesday night. It's fun being in here with these guys, and it's fun talking to you after the race. And just shout out to all the sponsors that help put this league on. I know there's a lot of them. I can't really think of them off the top of my head. I've been tired and sweating, and just I think Sundance, Travista. I know there's
Ideally's Buttkicker.
Ideally's, yeah. I just try to shout them out. I know that they help out and all that stuff. So thanks everybody that puts this on, and thanks everybody that tuned in to watch. Hopefully we put on a good show for you, and we'll be back here next week. And shout out to Brady for showing up, though. Like I said, he ain't been here for a while, and he's been trying to get stuff done at home, and props to him. I mean, life comes first. This is all just fun and stuff over here. So shout out to Brady. Shout out to my other teammates, Matthew Erickson and Christopher Campbell. So just thanks everybody that shows up every week, and we'll be back here next Tuesday, and hopefully we can have some more fun with you.
Absolutely. We'll look forward to it. I believe it's from Atlanta next week. So back to the good old D-Shapers. And indeed, great to have you with us, Ronnie. You and I, we've got a lot of history over the past year, done numerous leagues together, and always great to see you out here with some great runs. Good luck with the rest of the season, my friend.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Trevor.
So that is Ronnie Norman, who takes third place. He says he doesn't know how he got there, but he's happy to take third either way, still in this fight for the regular season championship. And I believe, Alex, you've had a chance to catch up with our second place finisher, Adam Buzzio.
Yeah, I just was catching up with Adam, and Adam, what a race you have had. I know you had a heck of a battle with moats and just a consistent back and forth, and one heck of a race all around. What was the strategy going into this, and what was the things that kept you consistent throughout the race?
Oh man, as far as strategy, I just wanted to survive, to be honest. My main goal and strategy was just not beat myself. This is only the second race I've ever done here, but I put a lot of practice laps in. A lot of good battles, man. I had some great battles with Ronnie. Man, who else? Richard. A couple other people throughout the night I had good fights with, and it was a lot of fun. I had an absolute blast. I know we got kind of spread out, but I had a lot of fun tonight.
Well, and you have just tore through the field. I know you were a little bit in the mid-pack coming up and working through the field. Was there any plans on passing? Was there certain spots that you preferred over others?
Yeah, for sure. So I started in third. The only reason why I think I got all the way back to ninth on that first lap. I missed a shift on the very first start of the race. I missed a shift going from first to second, and obviously it cost me a lot of spots. My passing spots were definitely the braking zone. I had the car set up where I could brake really hard and really late. That's just how I was comfortable doing it. And the guys, once I passed those first 4 or 5 guys, I just put enough pressure on whoever was in front of me to either make a little bit of a mistake. That seems like it's the best thing to do at this particular track. It's really, really easy to just miss your mark by a little bit, and if you do, it's going to cost you time. So that was the strategy there for about the 3rd, 4th, and 5th position, and made our way back up through it.
Well, and it definitely paid off for you. Coming out of the corners, it looks like you had a strong brake going in and getting out, and it held off the rest of the pack once you got out there and opened the car up. Congratulations on the second place. And is there anybody you want to shout out for being here in the booth tonight?
Well, I want to thank you guys for being in the booth, obviously, for giving us such a great broadcast. Say it every week. You guys are the best, and we appreciate you being here. I want to thank Buttkicker, Sundance Pizza, Idealies, and Trivista for being our league sponsors. Sundance as well for being our race sponsor tonight. Nice to see the Sundance Pizza car in victory lane for the Sundance race here. I want to thank my teammates Gavin and Steven. Not quite a 1-2-3 tonight, but we'll take 1-2-4. Would have been nice to do a back-to-back, but 1-2-4 is still pretty good. Thank all the drivers who came out tonight, man. I know road courses aren't everyone's favorite thing to do, but I was really happy with the attendance. And thank my wife Julie. Thank everyone for tuning in. I appreciate you guys.
Well, and we appreciate you putting on a show for us. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Adam Buzzio, our second place driver of the night. And here in just a second, we will have the opportunity to talk to the man that ran away with it all, Mr. Gavin Rogers.
Howdy.
Gavin, what a heck of a finish there. And you took the entire race. You took the pole position. You were the fastest guy out there. You took first stage, took the second stage, and you take the race victory. How satisfying is it to put in such a dominant performance, as Donna Lee says in our YouTube chat room?
Yeah, man, it's as satisfying as it gets there for sure. Me, Adam, and a couple other guys have been putting a lot of practice in, and it's definitely paid off for sure. Road courses have just been a thing I've been able to pick up in sim racing ever since I started, and I just loved it, especially with the cup cars. It's so heavy and so different, and it's there's nothing you can really compare it to, and it's something that I've just loved doing lately. And to do that, I believe it's my third road course league race win in a row after losing like I think 4 in a row since I've been doing them. So it's cool to finally be where I feel like I belong, and just happy it all paid out for sure.
Well, you speak of how different it is to drive these cars on a road course. It's really, driving these particular next-gen machines are different than other stock cars, and in general, stock cars are different than any sort of purpose-built road course racing machines. Was there a time where you put in, special training just on this car, just on this track to really figure out what the best ways to get into and out of the corners, the best inputs? Did you really train to try to unlock the secrets here, and is that really the key that unlocked these fast lap times for you?
Yes and no, not. I didn't do it for this track in specific. I haven't really had any real special training or practice. It's really experience, I guess, and something that I really picked up that I found out I was pretty good at from the start, and it's just trying to build that consistency, and that speed is really key, and to be able to have the practices that we've had in the league throughout the week is definitely a big help, and to be able to do that with teammates for sure is also a big help for sure.
Well, and that consistency is obviously paying off, not just in this race where we saw you not make the mistakes that others made throughout the race, losing car control, sliding off the track, etc. You didn't make any of those mistakes. As a result, you built up quite a big buffer, winning by 26 seconds. Totally dominant display there, but built off of that consistency that you're talking about. And let's talk about the championship for a minute. That consistency, despite having some, let's say, close racing and run-ins with your arch rival in the series, Ronnie Norman, this type of consistency of being good across multiple different types of tracks is now what's paying off. And with the result of tonight, you're going to be able to take over the regular season championship lead from Ronnie Norman. How does that feel?
It feels good for sure. I definitely have to keep it up. I've been struggling lately on the oval side of the racing, just in the stages and stuff, not being able to race up front and trying to just do different strategies that haven't really paid off. So definitely gonna have to change that up a bit. Atlanta won't be the greatest one to really practice that, but we go to Kern after that. Eldora, I believe I'm missing, but after that we got some good ovals that we'll be able to hopefully fix that strategy for sure and maintain that championship lead.
Yeah, we've got the schedule up there on the screen now, and as you mentioned, Atlanta, D-Shaper, very fast, like a super speedway. It's so fast. Gonna be, kind of good luck at Atlanta. It's a real dogfight there, but also you've got Kern County, as you mentioned, and Eldora, and then those are short tracks where if you've got some short track skills, those will come into play. And then, of course, Gateway has its own kind of technique. So 3 real tracks where if you've got some special skill sets, you could possibly break this regular season championship wide open.
Absolutely. Yeah, just got to keep the consistency up and fix that strategy, and we'll be able to hopefully keep it for sure.
Well, who would you like to thank for your run to victory lane? And I'm guessing it's going to be that sponsor that is on your side of your car.
Absolutely, Sundance Pizza, the one and only. Anytime anyone's out in Arizona, gotta try it out. Good family business. We got everything that you can really come up with for the most part. But definitely a huge shout out to them. They've been a huge support for the league, and just glad to be able to work for them for sure. But shout out to them. Daly's Trivista, Buttkicker. Shout out to you guys, the broadcast. You guys have done such a great job for us lately. We're so impressed. A shout out to both my teammates, Adam and Steven, got a 1, 2, and a 4 finish. So good to keep that speed going for the team. Shout out to everybody watching, all my family, and yeah.
Well, that is a nice list of folks to thank, but it's a good place to be, to have so many to thank. And Alex also has talked about stopping into Sundance as he's done in the past, and it was a great experience. So we show all the goodies that you can get over there at Sundance Pizza during the race, but certainly cool to have that sponsorship here of not only this race but the whole series. Hey, thank you so much for stopping in, Gavin, and we'll let you get off to celebrate with your teammates there at Next Level. Another great team finish. We'll look forward to seeing you back here again next week at Atlanta.
Hey, thank you very much, Trevor. Have a good one, guys.
You as well. So that was Gavin Rogers, who takes victory here once again. This is making it quite the regular occurrence for Gavin in victory lane, although Buzzio took victory last week for Next Level. Alex, final thoughts on tonight. It was an interesting road course race, but there was one driver who was just kind of in a class of his own out there.
It was quite a show. I mean, there's always a lot going on these road courses. These cars are wild. It makes for some exciting racing. Coming to the finish line, Stephen Borbell, Ronnie Norman, those two duking it out right there at the very end. We didn't know who was coming home with the third spot. Adam Buzzio climbing through the field. I'm going to talk about Dustin Stallings and the fact that started the race, had an upset, was over a lap down, and had climbed all the way back up to 6th place. So I'm sure that he feels really good about that. But one heck of a show tonight. It was definitely fun to watch. Really wish I was down there racing with the guys, but it was one heck of a show, and I'm more than happy to have been casting for it.
Well, of course, we appreciate you stepping in for Christian Snyder, who has had to step out for a little bit. He's gotten himself all injured up, so he needs some time to recuperate, but of course we're always looking forward to the day when he can rejoin us here in the booth. In the meantime, Alex, we know you're a little busy as well, but it'll be fun when you can get back into the cockpit, and certainly in the meantime, we're enjoying you here being in the broadcast booth. Always appreciate it. Thank you very much, my friend.
Absolutely. I am more than happy to be here.
So we also want to say thanks to Sundance Pizza, sponsor of Sundance Pizza 100 here at Circuit of the Americas, Buttkicker, Trivista, and Idealease, the main sponsors here in the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. And then thank you to all of you who joined us over in our YouTube chat room. Donna Lee, Ashley Pooler, Dallas Johnson, who says go number 4 and number 33. I'll be teaming up with these two for the 24 Hours of Daytona this weekend. Good luck in that race, all of you. And, of course, thank you to everybody who watches us live each week. Make sure to subscribe for more BRB Buttkicker Cup Series races next week, live here on VirtualRacing.Network. Same time, same channel. It'll be Atlanta Motor Speedway, so you won't want to miss it. I'm Trevor Greenfield. That's Alex Axman. We have Rev from Rev Sim Shop join us as well. We're going to say good night to you and have a great rest of your week. Stay warm wherever you are. Stay safe. And we'll see you back here on VirtualRacing.Network next Tuesday. Till then, have a wonderful one. Bye-bye, everybody.